This video and all yaoi fan fiction associated with Yugioh Vrains is protected under fair use. I know it might seem weird that I had to mention that, but I've been in the Yu-Gi-Oh fan community a long time. I know what people like to do. I'm not against it. I just felt it needs to be addressed. That's that. Anyways, so this week, Yu-Gi-Oh went in a pretty interesting direction. I mean, we've been in this direction for, like, what are we, 10, 11 episodes in at this point. But I don't know why. Something about the way it was presented to us this week really cemented it that we're all in on this. And that is that Yu-Gi-Oh has gone all in on sci-fi. Like, gone is fantasy magic, gone is the supernatural, everything is hardcore, this could sort of happen futurist type stuff. Like, I know that sounds crazy to say, and again, obviously we've been in this for several episodes now, but I don't know, everything to this point still felt like they could introduce a fantastical element. But with Revolver's explanation of what Ignis is and where he came from, I feel like we've cemented this is the first Yu-Gi-Oh that's gone on all the way. Now, some could argue Arc 5 brought up some science fiction-y elements, and they all have science fiction aspects to them. But again, in Arc 5, you still had magic dimensions and people splitting into four because of card effects and stuff. This feels all sci-fi, and I was thinking about what we've experienced so far. Nothing that has happened in Vrains is not, in theory, something that has been hypothesized with this sort of concept of technological integration. Like the idea of, being able to access the internet. Well, that's Ghost in the Shell. AI, that's everything. Even the concept of, like, using the internet to take over someone's mind, like, that has been done. And even though mind control has been done in Yu-Gi-Oh, now that we're looking through this more sort of transhumanism, pure science fiction-y eyes, it kind of becomes more terrifying because now it feels more tangible. If anything I'm making doesn't make sense, I get that, but this is sort of the reaction I'm getting. When Revolver gave us the talk of what Ignis is and where he came from, like the way he brought up the AI and how Ignis plans to use Cyverse to take over and how he created Cyverse and all this stuff, it really did feel like we've gone in that full direction. It's a great little scene, like, because it's, again, it shows that Revolver doesn't really need to keep secrets. Revolver is straight. He's forward. Remember in the Little Witch Academia review where I said that not being honest to Akko made me question Ursula / Shiny Chariot? Well, this is how you fix that. Like, the thing is that by being straight up and honest with him, this establishes that Revolver genuinely believes in what he's doing to the point where he's confident enough to be straight up with people about it. That may not seem like a big deal, but it kind of is when you need to establish the character's motives and how he thinks and how he behaves. Like, again, Revolver isn't a villain. He's not trying to take over the world. He's just trying to do what he thinks is necessary to protect humanity. It just so happens what he thinks and what he's doing is actually the wrong way to do it. Like, it's an interesting character motivation because, again, it goes more into that sci-fi direction of it's not world domination. It's what sci-fi is always supposed to go back to, and that's the concept is, where can technology bring humanity? Where can the things that could plausibly exist bring us in the future? And having this different sort of perspective on things really much adds to the story. You now have two sides established. You have Ignis, who, based on the way he talked to Yusaku's Roomba, very clearly wants to advance technology and go in the future direction. And again, what brought us to the point we are is obviously people looking in the future direction, trying to create AI through him. And not only that, you also have Revolver, who is the opposite, who says that, no, this is dangerous. Look at what technology can do to us. Look at the vulnerability it creates for us. It really is a good conflict. And yes, it's been done in sci-fi before, but Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't done it. And more importantly, Yu-Gi-Oh is doing it in a way that is entertaining, it's visually interesting, and I do think in a lot of ways it gets you thinking. Now, one thing I've heard some people brought up, and I thought this at first too, was, wait, didn't in Yu-Gi-Oh Zexal they have AI with Orbital 7 and the Obot he wanted to fuck? Well, technically, we still don't know if the other Yu-Gi-Ohs still exist. They really haven't explained it. But not only like that, Orbital 7 still stuck to his programming. Like, his programming was still to protect Jack and... No, not Jack, Kaito and Kaito's brother. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. It's pretty weird, awkward for me to record at this time. But all in all, I think it is a very interesting conflict. I think it's a very interesting story premise. As far as the only other really interesting thing to address in this episode, I liked the sort of metaphor of Ignis isn't supposed to be able to experience sleep, and that is the fire prison affecting his programming. That was a nice little touch. The entrance of Firewall Dragon and Gun Dragon thing that will probably get censored was cool. I like the very basic but still pretty good visual contrast between the two. Obviously, Revolver's dragon is red and black with very sharp edges. Firewall Dragon is white and bluish with very soft edges. This is obviously to create a simple yet easy to follow contrast between the two. The only other interesting thing I want to address is Yusaku's flashback, where we got our first sense into what happened to him or what his big deal is. I thought was a really nice little scene. First up, the detail. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh! Likes color, and they always have a very saturated color palette. However, this all-white room background was really creepy to me, especially because that was the room. That's not just the way Yusaku remembers it, because we saw edges and stuff. Making it that he was just stored in this all-white room and was just forced to duel to the point where he hurt himself, I thought was a really nice little creepy touch. It really makes you feel for the guy, considering he's been so awkward the whole time, which is good. That's obviously his personality type. But I do quite like it. I like that he does everything in threes has an explanation that I can kind of make sense. This was something he was told to hang on to. This was something that got him through a traumatic childhood. I really like that little bit because I think it adds to it. It's not just giving an explanation, something for the sake of an explanation. It does further the character. It adds to the backstory, and I think it's going to play into things as we go on. And I like the fact that Yusaku's goal isn't just like revenge or to get his memories, because those feel like plot points they could just easily discard once we get to like the midway point for the series. But no, the fact that he's looking for something, that feels like something you can actually build upon, because I imagine whoever this person is probably is related to the main plot. Maybe it's his mother, maybe it's a sister, maybe it's just a friend, maybe it's the main bad guy, who knows. But it creates something you can build upon and something you can take the story in interesting directions, and things are going in interesting directions, and I hope it keeps that way. But what did you think? In the comments section below, give me your thoughts on this episode, what you think of the sci-fi edge, what you think of the philosophy element they're adding to it, if you think Orbital 7 was actually AI, or if there's like an AI I missed they threw in this crazy show. But as for the TCG question of the week, I'm going to do a twofer. First up, it was really cool when we learned that Firewall Dragon's alternate art is his attack. I don't really think the alternate art looks good or bad. I think it just looks so-so. But making it that it's the attack, I think actually kind of makes it a lot cooler. So my question is, what alternate arts do you want in the game? I know there's a couple like Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, and several others, but I wish Yu-Gi-Oh! Would do more from other popular cards. Like, I would love an alternate Neos art. I would love, like, maybe even alternate, like, Dante art. Just do more alternate arts. What do you want for that? And also, this weekend, Code of the Duelist sneak peek. What are you excited about? Gonna play Vendrids? Gonna play a World Chalice? Are you happy Firewall Dragon's pre-order price went from like 80 to 40 over the course of 2 days? But tell me that below, and as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and good luck at the sneak peek.